The hope is that hopefully by the end, definitely by 2021, hopefully sooner, IT outsourcing will surpass our garments industry as our biggest export earner. The potential for earning is many times that of any other industry, simply because this is a much higher end industry. To that end, of course, the government has also been participating in several. We've been marketing the country internationally. The government has sent teams to market Bangladesh in IT expos in the primary markets, the US, Europe, etc. But now finally, this being our focus today being on telecommunications, I would like to come back to what we are doing to build the basic backbone of our IT industry, which is the infrastructure. We have modified our telecom policies, and we continue to. These are all fluid documents. We continue to modify them, as you will see shortly. Our goal is to provide both wired, optical, as well as wireless connectivity, but our goal is not just to connect the major hubs. Our goal is to connect the entire country. And this is something we can do very quickly. Ours is a very small country physically. To that end, the policy frameworks were revised beginning last year. As soon as our government is formed, we began to look at our telecommunications policies and revise them. We have created several guiding principles as to what our goals are. Our goals are to provide connectivity throughout the country down to the village level. To provide connectivity, right now we have mobile coverage covering 98% of our population and 90% of our landmass. Our goal is to provide that connectivity in terms of the data network as well. We have plans to provide to build fiber optic cables down to every single union and post office in the country. And we have several initiatives to expedite digital Bangladesh using the telecom sector. To that end, we have taken the National Telecommunications Policy of 1998, which was revised during our government's previous term. We have taken the Bangladesh Telecommunications Act of 2001, that is being revised. The International Long Distance Telecommunications Service Policy of 2007 was revised and adopted as the International Long Distance Telecommunications Services Policy of 2001. This policy has been adopted by the Cabinet, and it is awaiting vetting by the Law Ministry. Hopefully they will finalize it any day now. We have a National Broadband Policy of 2009 that was created. National Information and Communications Policy of 2009, the Right to Information Act of 2009, because that is a critical aspect of digital Bangladesh, transparency. And of course the Bangladesh Telecommunications Regulatory Act of 2009 that is still being finalized. What are the guiding principles of our telecommunications policies? First, the introduction of new technologies. We want to innovate. We want to keep innovating. We want to keep adopting new technologies to improve the connectivity, increase capacity, and bring down cost. We want to connect people in the most remote parts of Bangladesh. We want universal coverage. We do not want a digital divide to develop. And we want to keep the price low. Right now, in terms of the mobile market, Bangladesh is one of the cheapest in the world. However, in terms of data bandwidth, Bangladesh is one of the most expensive in the world. With regards to telecommunication services, these are just some of the examples of the telecommunications licenses that we presently have and have issued. 6 mobile operators, 13 PSTN operators, several gateways, VSAT. We have 2 NTTN operators, which are private fiber optic network builders. We have 2 of them presently in the country. One license was, both of these licenses were issued in the last 2 years. One was issued very recently. And at present, one of the things that we're doing is assessing the status of the network in the country at present. So to that end, we have created a new committee. It is called the National Network Development Committee. What we have done, the goal of this committee is that what we have seen is that there exist many networks in the country, but they're all disjointed. They overlap in a majority of areas, and so rural areas are still being left out, and everyone is building separate networks connecting the major hubs. So the goal here, and what we found is that all 59 districts have fiber optic links. 296 upazilas have fiber optic links. But in many cases, much of this fiber optic cable is lying completely unused, or those who need to use it don't have access to it. So this committee's job is to unify this. We are going to take all the cable that is owned by all government, state-owned enterprises. The Power Grid Corporation has a lot of fiber, the railway network has fiber, Bangladesh Telecom has its own fiber, and we are going to integrate all of this. We are going to provide it to the citizens as well as to private enterprise so that they can use this bandwidth to connect our people. And the goal is that that will bring down the cost. Here we have some of the projects that have been undertaken. Of course, the telecommunication network development project that I mentioned. Another thing that we're doing is that we are now revising we are building a policy, what we call the next generation network policy. As you saw on the previous slide, right now our networks are segmented. You have separate networks, separate licensing scheme for voice, data, etc. We are going to unify it all. At the end of the day, with digital technology, this is all data. There is no difference. So the distinctions are artificial. By integrating them, we can bring down costs further. I've mentioned the optical fiber connection down to the union level. That is our goal. We hope to have that goal completed by 2013. And here is a list of, there are 400, the plan is to connect 4,400 union Parishads within the next 2 years, and to connect all 8,000 by the year 2013, 100 already connected, 1,000 to be connected by next year, 2,000 more by 2012, and then by 2013, all 8,000. This is the domestic, I guess I got a little ahead of myself on the slides. This is the Domestic Network Coordination Committee to ensure the optimum utilization of all fiber optic networks in the country. Here's a brief on just to give you an example of how our coverage, the wireless network coverage, has grown. As you can see, in '97, there were just 3 out of 64 districts connected. In 2030 districts, 2002 50, 2004 61, and at present, now with the final connectivity in the Chittagong Hill Tracts, all 64 districts have wireless network coverage, thanks to our mobile operators, many of whom are present today. In fact, I live in the U.S. Bangladesh has much better mobile coverage than the U.S. does. Now, the fiber optic cable is going to get to the union level. Our goal is, although, is to have all villages connected. And we hope that the last mile solution, especially in the rural areas, will be provided by wireless broadband, what we call BWA, broadband wireless access. At present, we have issued 2 WiMAX licenses. We are going to issue 2 more. Our government is finalizing the 3G licensing scheme, and we are already starting work on the 4G licensing scheme. So we are moving ahead. We want competition. We want our mobile operators to be able to provide true broadband. For example, right now, our broadband policy labels any connection of 256 kilobits and above as broadband. I do not consider that broadband. To provide true broadband, we have to be able to provide at least megabit connections wirelessly down to the village level. We are also building e-community centers in our post offices. All 8,500 post offices will be converted into e-community centers where citizens will be able to go in and have computers that they can access to get information, get on the internet, utilize government services, whatever it is they need. This is to one of the complaints has been, well, most of our population will not be able to afford a computer and a connection. Well, they don't need to. We are going to provide the access for them. And of course, these e-community centers and the Union for Short centers are being connected through wireless modems. But the ultimate goal is that connection will be replaced first by wireless broadband, then eventually by fiber optics. Some of the initiatives that we have taken to expedite digital Bangladesh. We have established video conferencing facilities all the way up to the field administrations. To give you one example, the Health Ministry has provided web cameras and wireless modems and a laptop at all of their clinics nationwide, so that their doctors there can refer to and can consult with specialists in Dhaka via teleconferencing. We're modernizing our telephone system. Eventually, the hope is to move completely to a digital IP-based connectivity where we can provide telephone, data, television service down one connection. And of course, just last month, our government, our Honorable Prime Minister herself filled out the application online to register Bangla as a domain with ICANN, so that hopefully soon you will be able to enter web addresses in Bangla. Some of the segments of some of the other projects being undertaken by the Ministry of Post and Telecom. As I mentioned, the 3G licensing scheme is almost finalized. We are emphasizing green telecom as well. So for example, we want to connect everyone, but we want it to be environmentally friendly. We want our network to be power efficient, and that is a fundamental goal that we want to build in right from the start rather than try to fix it later. We want to keep the emphasis, of course, on cybersecurity. Since we are starting from scratch, we want to build in the security systems right from the beginning rather than, again, trying to fix them later. And our government has taken the initiative to launch a satellite. Hopefully that will be finalized within the next few years. We are going to build alternate submarine cables, and we are going to let the private sector do this, as well as you heard, a terrestrial international link as well. And the hope is, again, that presently, 2010, our teledensity is about 37%. In terms of telephone, in terms of voice communications, we have the lowest tariff, and the telecom sector, either directly or indirectly, employs more than 750,000 people. There are more than 5 million mobile internet users from the urban and rural areas. Presently, we're at 4% internet penetration. We hope to get far beyond that. Our neighboring India is at least 10%, probably more now. Pakistan is at 7%, so there is no reason. And Bangladesh is actually lagging behind in South Asia. Within this term, we hope to catch up. By 2015, we hope to get to a teledensity of 85%, increased internet penetration to 30%, and we believe that will employ more than 2.5 million people. The telecommunications sector approximately will employ that many if we can achieve this teledensity. And of course, by 2021, the goal is to accomplish our dream of a digital Bangladesh. These are just some of the sectors that the government is working on with regards to e-governance, our e-community, IT education, improved voice services, infrastructure, IT outsourcing, mobile banking. We have taken the initiative our government has opened up online banking for the first time, electronic transactions. These are all being set up. And of course, public information. All information, all government information is going to be public. It's going to be available on the internet. There are going to be no more secrets. It's going to be transparent. With that, I would like to thank you all for your attention and your support.